time we're going to look at, and we come closer home to possibly a lot of the jobs that people in the audience are doing, and we look at how do you build an agile organization through talent management programs. And to be able to present this, I'm really delighted. We have Harshvendra Soin, who's going to be here to talk to you about this. Harsh is with Tech Mahindra, and where he is looking after all facets of leadership, hiring, and development globally, including the Global Leadership Cadres Young CEO program and the Learning World for the organization. He is looking at the HR function across APAC and IMEA for both the enterprise and the telecom business of Mahindra and Mahindra, leveraging talent programs to build the agile organization. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for Harsh Soin.
Thank you, Sujay. And you've done a fantastic job. I've often admired you and the work you put in, and I must tell you, it's a real honor and privilege to be here. So, ladies and gentlemen, the topic I have is how to build an agile organization through talent development. And I work for an IT company, like most of us do in Hyderabad. It's about 110,000 employees, 90 countries. Interestingly, when we were all looking at what's competition and looking at people like Cognizant and Accenture and other IT companies of the world, guess what? Uber comes in and changes how we do things. It's an IT company. And therefore, if you don't respond and if you're not agile, you're out of a business. And that's how critical agility is to us. I have a small 2-3 slides here. Can I have the slides here? My 17 minutes don't start, huh? Because Gaurav said 15 minutes for your red placard, 17 minutes I shoot you. So I said, okay, I'll stop at 15.
You have the clicker, is that?
Yes, I do. I have a clicker. I don't have a PPT yet.
Okay. No, I think.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Life is simple, isn't it? So I'm going to talk about agility in the context of talent management, in the context of a large organization. And ladies and gentlemen, my whole feeling and assessment is HR is about reducing biases. If we want to build a strong HR organization, all we have to do is remove biases. But guess what we do? Create biases and only biases. We have talent acquisition saying you're good, you're bad, we'll hire the good. We have a talent management program which says you're good, you're bad, we'll promote you. We have a PMS system which says you're good, you're bad, we'll give you more money. And we have to come out with a system and a process, and I'm sure we will, where we say you're good for this position and you're good for the other. We have to recognize the strengths of people to really build an agile organization, because talent, ladies and gentlemen, is just not available. So if you do not respect the talent that is there and have HR processes drive it, you will never succeed. I love this quote. It says, success today requires the agility and drive to constantly rethink, reinvigorate, react, and reinvent. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what we do every single day. And if you take a look at the organizations that have succeeded and failed, the difference really is how have they adapted, how agile they are. And it's not about a first mover advantage anymore. It's about a fast mover advantage. Uber was not the first one to think about this. Facebook was not a new thought, but they did it better, faster, and more successfully. And that's really it's all about. And I'm going to talk about how and why talent have to have a strategy of build and buy. And this is about building. Clearly, a company's agility today trumps efficiency as a measure of success. Earlier, we used to say, oh, the company is very successful because it's efficient. Today, you can take a look at any top organization and we say, a company is successful because it's more agile. It can respond not only to the customer's needs, but to the needs of the customer's customers, especially if you're an IT company. Because you're no longer doing what the customer demands. You are delivering what the customer demands. And clearly, the question is, how do we get this talent that understands this? How do we build it? Because we can't buy it. It's too expensive, and it's not available. Right? The other thing that we need to keep in mind to build and why we need an agile organization, ladies and gentlemen, is today we have a VUCA world. We all know what VUCA is. But guess what? It's out also, along with the VUCA world, we have some countervailing powers, which means competition is intelligent, the customer is more intelligent. If you're a doctor, you're really having a tough time today, because a patient goes to the doctor and says, I have a bad knee, a bad arm, and the doctor's examining, and the patient says, guess what, I Googled it, and it could be these 3 reasons. And the doctor says, listen. So we have informed customers, right? And those are the countervailing powers that keep coming in. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, it's important to know that the future will be built by a different creed. If you're talking about digitization, look at what the industries are going through. Nobody goes to a bank anymore. So what happens to all those great assets that we build in brick and mortar? Nobody goes to a hospital anymore. I worked for a hospital. I worked for the Fortis Group, and I can tell you, he goes to the hospital because there's remote patient care today. And even if you look at a farmer doesn't go to this field. He has a mobile device which tells him what's happening in his farm. And therefore, when all the things are happening at this pace, you need people with a different mindset to manage the digitized world. And believe me, I was speaking at a conference where somebody said, we are from the manufacturing industry. I said, well, so what? Manufacturing is changing too. In fact, it's changing faster than anything else. Take any manufacturing industry. It is all getting digitized and run by people who think very differently. So no more emails and memos. Everything happens on Twitter and Facebook, right? This is what I just talked about. Cities are connected. You're connected on vehicles. You're connected on grocery. Nobody goes to the shop anymore. In India, everybody said, Indians like to touch and feel and buy things. So e-commerce will be a flop. People still go to the shop, touch and feel, and buy from e-commerce, right? So e-commerce is a success. But even e-commerce has to transform because newer things are coming, new payment methodologies are coming. So how do you get this new creed? How do you build this in your organization to keep pace and keep ahead of what the competition is doing and what the customer is demanding? To be agile, ladies and gentlemen, we need a few things. We need people that hit the ground running. We don't have time to train and retrain. We have heard this 1,000,000 times. People say, new skill sets. So the CEO says, go retrain. By the time you retrain, the skill is out. You don't have that skill anymore. So who has the time to train and retrain? We need people who hit the ground running because that's the differentiator you have vis-a-vis products, services, or any other thing that you do. Because even if it's an IT company or a retail company or a healthcare company or any manufacturing company, your window of opportunity is only that much. We need people who have an entrepreneurial mindset. Rajesh, we talked about entrepreneurial. And I'll tell you what is entrepreneurial. It's basically thinking laterally, willing to take calculated risks, not mavericks jumping off a cliff, but jumping off a cliff when you know the net is there. And you need that entrepreneurial mindset because if you do not take a risk, you do not achieve anything. I'll give you an example. I still remember a dear friend talked to me and said, when we were small kids, our parents always used to tell us, keep both feet on the ground. Be humble, you heard it, right? He said, never do that. The only time you keep both feet on the ground is when you're dead, because they bury you, right? Keep one foot in the air, experimenting, taking that calculated risk, because only then will you be able to make a differentiated and agile organization. So please have the courage to build a talent pool that has the ability to take risks. You've heard this word very often, celebrating failures, but I think it's important. You need to celebrate failures, and you need to have this entrepreneurial mindset. Thirdly, We need people who are passionate and innovative. Because if you're not passionate, you will not go that extra mile to deliver what is needed for the organization. And you have to be passionate in the culture that the organization is. You know, a Tech Mahindra can't be the same as maybe a SR or a Deloitte or an IBM. I need to recognize my own strengths and build people who are passionate in the culture and thrive in the culture that I have. They have to be business and tech savvy. Today, everybody's tech savvy. Hey, even my driver is tech savvy. He tells me what apps to download, right? And you all see it. You know, forget kids. I mean, the grocer is tech savvy. And if you are not tech savvy, you are not really literate. Forget Agile. Say, you know, work-life balance has a different meaning. So you go home at 7, but they give you a laptop, they give you an iPad, they give you a watch, connected watch, and you're always connected. So, you know, your work-life balance is a different connotation. So he says, go home at 7, but guess what? Be on your mails. Huh? So that's also agility. You have to be connected. Can it happen that you respond to a mail after 48 hours? You'll be dead. The reason is that's how the world is going. But the challenge is, how do we pick up those pearls from that ocean of mediocrity? Because every single people of those 110,000 that we have are not stars, right? They're good at something. But if you really have to pick out those pearls and gems, groom them, and then unleash their potential, you have to use a good talent management system. You have to grow them. You have to groom them. Because that is when you will put them into various places. And I'll give you a few examples as I go forward. This is just I'm not trying to sell Tech Mahindra. I'm just going to give you 2-3 examples because TechM really grew fast. You know, we were a $280 million company 10 years ago. We are a $4.5 billion company today, so we have a choice. We were growing so fast, we had to build. We couldn't buy. We couldn't afford. So we did something which is called the 1,000 Leader Program. The reason I'm saying is it is needed for this agility that we talked about. It basically is a program which is an end-to-end integrated talent pipeline. We have 3 facets and 3 pillars to it. It's basically how we select, because if you select the wrong person, you're dead anyway. So it's an automated tool. It's a self-nomination tool. It is across geographies, across nationalities, no restrictions. You can raise up and say, I am the game changer you need. And there's a whole series of how we select, but it's quite unique. There's a series of development programs which are A, generic, and 2, unique. Series of mentoring, coaching, shadowing, where we enable a person to get up to speed what the customer wants. You could be from delivery, you could be from sales, you could be from HR, doesn't make a difference. And the result and the impact is, in the last 6 months, and I'm just giving you a 6 months figure, we have 200 people who've generated from this talent pool and moved to critical roles. 200 is a large number. They have moved across the company. They have created a pipeline of $1 billion. This didn't exist, right? And these are people from delivery, HR, finance. They've all gone to sales and creating this pipeline. They have created new business. We are into businesses like esports. We opened an engineering college, by the way, in Hyderabad called Mahindra Ecole Central. We are not in the business of college, but we opened it in our campus. And from this pool did it. It's quite exceptional because it's in the 2nd year of running and it's doing great business. We have some platforms which are generating about $250 million, which never existed. So, advantage is we were never in that business and we generated a pool of people who got that business for us. If we were not there, we would be probably wiped out because too late is too, I mean, just a couple of other things. We have something called a shadow board. It's a Mahindra Group initiative. Basically, we have 8 or 10 youngsters, 30 years old or less than 30 years old, which are just like a shadow to the board. And they are supposed to come up with new ideas. Forget how the nomenclature goes, but this board generated last year for us an idea which is called Future of Transportation, which was really carpooling. You know, from an electric, we're an electric car company, right? We have Reva, which is quite unique, but we never thought we could do carpooling through electric car company. And Uber followed and Ola followed, we didn't do it. But it was a great idea and it was a very, very good business proposition. We're still putting it into action, but it came because people understood not only Tech Mahindra, but also the group. And they clearly said, we will have synergies and we'll get this business idea in. We have something called Global Leadership Cadre we hire from B schools. These are our commando forces, right? So wherever there's a bad account, send them. There is a new geography, we send them. Whether So, we had to open Norway. We had no clue what Norway looks like. So nobody said, nobody raised their hand and said, we want to go. There's a GLC who said, I'll go. And he's like 24 years old. And he said, make me the country head. I'll go. I'll open it. So 24 years old, went country head of Norway, has got us a business of $15 million in 1 year's time. Agility is about taking that leap. And talent management programs enable you to take that leap of faith. Finally, a young CEO program, which has become quite famous, but essentially means we have about 5, 6 kids of 35 years old running businesses. And that, businesses which could be in the area of innovation, new businesses, new geographies, etc. We have people who have got platforms up and running. We have somebody who's running an analytics academy. There's one new one who said, we have a great L&D offerings. Let me sell it to the customer. Suddenly, that learning and development becomes a offering which goes to the customers and generating revenue. So, it's the idea which has made us move forward as a company, because remember, like every other industry, IT is also not moving as fast in the traditional businesses. So you need to have those mavericks who understand your organization, who are given the opportunity to develop, and then put forth the program that will give you that edge. Because from 4 to 8 billion is going to be even tougher, right? And my last slide is to have a sustainable differentiator. We need to build an agile organization. We need to invest in our talent pool. We need to invest in our talent management program, because I can assure you there is not a single organization that can only buy, because it's too expensive, right? And if we are not agile, it's not that we will be second best. We won't exist. And this is applicable across industries. And ladies and gentlemen, that's a great topic that you gave me, Sujaya. I think agility will drive our future. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.